Okay, there we go. All right, welcome back, everybody, to Hot Coffee and Art in the Afternoon. So I'm going to work on doing some mixed media art collage cards here, and it's the same processes that I do all the time, but I'm running out of cards for my giveaways, so I'm going to make a bunch more today. So I think what I'll do is I'll zoom in one. Let's see here. That's too far. Let me get right about there. Let me focus us back in. I think that's good. And so I've got about 15 laid out here. Here we go. Tina, okay, I'm going to try and work along with you. Oh, okay. All right. Well, here's the thing, Tina, and anybody else that's going to try to work along. Now, I do go kind of fast. Don't try to do 15. Let me just start with that. Do not try to do 15 right now, Tina. Try to do one or two. Anyway, yeah. To start, people always want to know how I like to start, and these are not all done yet. I just started, you know, last night pulling some images, and I do need to add a few more things. If you have a people, a place, and a thing, you can start with a place. It could be a little bit of a scenery. It could be, even if you want to end up painting your own scenery at the end, is fine. And then a play, that's a place, and a person can be anything living. The person can be a butterfly, it could be a bug, it could be a actual person, it could be, anything alive is I consider a person, and a thing. Now I try to always have some kind of a piece of a watch or a clock or some element of time in my cards. I just like that. So if you have a person, place, or thing on a card, you'll have a start of a story. So let me just tell that to you at first, Tina. So if you just want to pick a couple cards and find a person, place, and thing, you have a start to the card. And of course, if you just want to play along and practice the technique itself, it's the same technique I used in my art journal, my larger cards, my 4x6 postcards, my ATCs. It's pretty much the same, unless I'm doing a background. Now, let me just kind of do a rabbit trail on that. A background can start as a jelly plated card, okay? It can start as your just all random collage cards that you just do random collage and stenciling and painting on them, and then just cut those down to either a postcard, a 3x4, a ATC, which is 2.5 by 3.5, or even the tiny little inchies that I've done. You can start out with that as a background. But if you want to, tell a, kind of a definitive story, if you start with color, lots of texture and collage, and stenciling and random collage on your base, you might have a little harder time getting it cohesive into a story because you've got so much going on in such a small space. So to do a story type of card, for me, it's easier just to start with a white blank card, or black or tan or cream or whatever color, a solid color. Okay. All right. So if y'all have any questions, put them in caps. Thanks everybody for being here. If you're watching a recording, it's a live chat on Ustream, Coffee and Art in the Morning. Dee Dee Willingham, feel free to come over. It's free and join my Ustream channel. And then you should get, depending on your browser, email notifications of when I go live. I think you have to check the box saying send me notifications, but other than that, it's free. Yeah, so I just upload these to YouTube at the end of the day, and so that people that sometimes have a hard time watching recordings from Ustream on their devices, you don't have that problem watching them on YouTube. Plus, I just enjoy putting them up there on YouTube. So, all right. So what I want to do first is I kind of got, these started last night, and just, the starts of some little stories here. and they're not done, but it's a start. And again, I had some butterflies picked out because I thought I would just do some butterflies on these. So let me see if I can find a couple more. And again, to I have started to try to keep my collage fodder narrowed down to the drawers. I'll go ahead and read them off to y'all again. They're just these little plastic drawers in the little organizing tower from Michaels. That when I get them on sale, or I have got them on sale. I have a paint cart, a collage cart, and a pencil pen cart. And the collage cart's the one that's all the different colors. And I have labels on the front to kind of help me organize it a little bit. Now, it's not all my collage stuff. I have tons of collage books. I've not got rid of any of my collage books in the big, organization 2015. But I did get a lot of them sorted. I did sort out a lot of individual themed things in these drawers. So just so you can kind of, just so that you can kind of get a idea of the categories that I have for collage, I'll just read mine out to you. Now I'm going to kind of roll back here. I'll talk loud so hopefully you can hear me when I'm kind of across the room. But these are the categories I have in these drawers. Watches and mechanicals is in one drawer. Anything, mechanical. Flowers, trees, and food are in another drawer. Doors, windows, and architecture. Animals. The next drawer is birds and bugs. Scenery and maps. People and faces. Colors and patterns. Books, letters, and music. And by books, I mean like old book paper, old book pages, and old music. And then odds and ends. So those are the 10 drawers. I think that's 10, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11, wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, yeah, 10 drawers. So those are how I have my main categories divided up. So I have a couple, let's have a butterfly there, but that was kind of where I was at. Trying to find, like here's a cool bird right there. But when you do these small 3x4 or smaller, this is getting kind of big. This would work on a 4x6. I'm giving Tina time to gather some stuff too, I hope. Hey, okay, Carol. Anybody else popping in? Okay. Thanks, Eileen. Yeah, I try to have them just some kind of general categories, but then I have all my books that I get on clearance and calendars and all that. But I did narrow my collage fodder, actual scraps and pieces, down to these 10 drawers and one bin. So I got rid of all the other bins. And now that's not the books. I mean, I still have a whole shelves of books that I use to cut up out of. But that I've narrowed it down. I was real proud of myself, guys. That was a lot. It was a lot of work to do that. I couldn't have done it without Denise. I know y'all thought she was being like, oh my gosh, she's brutal. Like Janet called it. Jay Merrill says, oh my gosh, she is brutal. Well, kind of, sort of. But, I needed to get rid of stuff. And again, if you watch that recording or any of these where I'm talking about purging things out, I did not throw away any good stuff. It's all like scraps of paper, pieces of scrapbook paper, collage stuff that just was like overloaded. I didn't throw away a bunch of good supplies. I've got a couple people actually thinking that I did. Oh my gosh, you shouldn't have thrown away good stuff. I didn't throw away good stuff. I have a whole basket full of chipboard books and stuff like that for giveaway. I'm cutting out a bird while we're talking. And stuff like that for giveaway. So, really, You know, I'm not throwing away a bunch of good supplies. And again, I've had this particular room for Cameron 16, 15 years or 14 years. You know, so it's just piled up. So anyway, I like this little bird. We're going to put a bird on it. She's fun. Isn't she fun? Denise is a hoot. She is so much fun, I'm telling you guys. Now, I'm not probably going to use that woodpecker, but I love that piece of wood right there. So I'm not going to use it right now because it's too big, but I love that piece of wood. So again, at one point I might have saved that little woodpecker, but I know I'm not going to use it. It's going in the trash. Sorry, I bumped the camera. But I know I'll use that piece of wood. Now I do have this piece of scrapbook paper that I've cut out a butterfly or two out of, but I don't want to use just all these butterflies. I like to kind of have a variety. So I'm just kind of looking through my birds and bugs, which includes butterflies, and kind of finding a few things. Here's some more little birds. They're too kind of washed out. Let's see what else. So if y'all have any questions, yeah, I like that little bird. So if y'all have any questions or anything, I'm just going to kind of take my time and just work on some collaging and just hang out. And yeah. But these are the kind of cards I like to make for giveaways. I don't sell these. I don't sell my art cards. I trade them. I trade cards, and I give them away. So if you do make art cards, you know, and I do draw some, like sketch card type things, but these are just fun to do on stream, and they're easier to show than trying to draw like faces and stuff on stream so tiny, because I mean, I can do it when I set the camera up just right, but I think this is just more fun. It's more fun for me because I can chat. Yeah, everybody's trying to get Rach to stream. She said she would, guys. She said she would once school is out next week. She will. Rach is good about it when she says she will. She will. Uh-oh, that one looks too much like a flamingo. It's not a flamingo, though. What is it? It is... I'm not sure. Oh, spoonbills. I like this little spoon. I'm going to cut this spoonbill out, Eileen. This is a clown-free and flamingo-free zone. And but this is a spoonbill, so it just happens to be pink. So it kind of looks flamingo-ish, Eileen, but it's not. So I'm going to fussy cut it out. And the only reason I'm fussy cutting is because everything's full here. I want to be able to see them. If I cut them out, I can see them. So I kind of got one of the steps. This process right here, where I went through and picked out just this much, probably took me about an hour and a half, but I wasn't in a hurry. I wasn't streaming it, so I wasn't in a big hurry. But so yeah, I kind of took my time and just chilled. So this took me about an hour and a half just to pull the stuff. So since I've already pulled the stuff, it'll be a little less, you know, I can get a little further along in the process. Sip of coffee. Oh, no problem, Colleen. She streams every now and then when she remembers to record. I think she got like half of her last one done. She only recorded half. There's a couple people that's very, you just want to smack them upside the head. Just want to give them a good whopping because they don't record. That's just me. Okay, so anyway, Eileen, so there's that little bird. It's not a flamingo, but and again, it looks so orange on camera. He's really very pink. So I'm not sure where I want to put him, though. He needs to have some contrast. There we go. Right there. So I won't use that one. So I'm going to throw that away. All right, let's see what else. Dixie's talks about Well, I don't know. We keep working on Eileen to stream. Eileen is our enabler elf. If you hashtag ask Eileen anything, and let me restate this on this recording too, because I said it on part one when I was doing Happy Mail. Where is my little note? Here. So y'all know when you get hungry and angry, you get hangry. Well, when you don't do art for a week, you get heartless. That's what Eileen the Enabler Elf. That's what ET stands for, Eileen the Enabler Elf. You get heartless. Hashtag heartless instead of hangry. So just saying, don't go a week without art. Oh my goodness. I'm looking through this little stack of birds here and butterflies and bugs. I'd like to find a couple bugs actually, or some bees. Bees would be good. I do have my bee stamps, but I think my bee stamps, well, I do have a tinier one. My hand carved bee stamps would work on this too. Oh, that's a cute little bird. But even this, all right, so this was a Christmas card. It's a blank one. It's probably really old. But look, I kept it for those little chickadees. I like those little chickadees. Let's cut out one of those. So, you know, you can always use your old greeting cards for this kind of thing too. Or junk journals. You know, you can always just take your cards and make them into junk journals. So I'm just going to cut this little... and a little bit of the holly. I don't want the red berries, but I just want a little bit of the... That's cute. So just depending on how much time you want to take, like I think I want to put this little bird as part of this watch. I want him sitting like, let me hold this up here. So I want this little bird to like integrate into that watch. Like that, you know, maybe have his little head peeking out like that, or just completely integrate him. Like he's nesting on that gear. I like that, like right there. Perfect. So, I like that. Links are open, guys. I mean, they should be, unless Eileen's cutting you guys off. You can post, promote any of your sites, your links, your blogs, your Ustream, your YouTube. Oh, there's a puffin. Now, he's a little big for a 3x4 card, but that would be a perfect one for a 4x6. I got some Atlanta Botanical Garden tissue paper. That's kind of cool. I need to get back over to our botanical garden. I haven't been over there in a couple years. It's a great place to photograph flowers. Can the place be a thing also, like flowers? Yes, the place would be a garden, Tina. Yeah, the place could be a garden with flowers, sure. As long as, you know, I'm just saying that it just makes for an easier storytelling if you have a person, place, or thing. Okay, so here's some good butterflies from calendar pages that are like, shows the different butterflies that are on the big piece. This like the back, you know, the background of the calendar, showing the big pictures that are in there. So these little tiny ones will be good size for these. So I'm going to have to send one of these to Shabs, and I'm going to have to send one to Nana J. Nana J, I think it's Nana J 57. She did some art cards. She said that I inspired her. And so it was real nice. If you watch her on YouTube, Nana J, I think it's Nana J 57, Janet. Okay, so look at that. Isn't that great? Now, something like this also works well. Like, let me just cut it in half to show you. Like, let me find one. This one has, this goes there. Okay. So for instance, like on this one, you can give your time wings. Something like this. Like that. I won't have them quite that. I don't like things too symmetrical. Once in a while, my cards will turn out symmetrical, but I really don't like them symmetrical. So I might have that one like even behind that world. So I don't know yet, but I want to use them on that because it needs some color. That's why I went for that one. Yeah, time flies. I don't put many words. I'm not much of a word person on my cards. I like to leave the story for the person that's viewing it to make up their own story and not tell them what it is. Nothing wrong with it. If you put words on your journal pages or whatnot, don't email me. I just like to leave it what you might think. Now this is like the butterfly from the side, but I cut all that off so I could use it this way. I could use it all different ways. But I'm just really trying to find a little bit of story and a little bit of color in the different ones. I don't want it there. And they're not really laid out yet. I'm just kind of adding some more elements. I'll cut out one more butterfly wing and then let's see what else I can find. I want them all a little different. You know, I'm just right here, guys. I mean, I'm just not like under the camera cutting. Just cutting out right over here. If y'all have any questions, just feel free to ask. I try to talk out my processes, even though most of y'all probably see me do these many, many times. It's still, for me, it's fun. And because I'm actually doing it, I talk it out so that y'all are just sitting here with dead air if you're watching the recording. Okay, so I would like that. But again, I might end up cutting it in half. It might go that way. Oh, let me see. Let me move this. Well, let me move the camera up just a tad. There we go. I'm trying to keep all of them in focus. And I probably won't, I'll probably glue all this down, but I know I won't be able to finish painting 15 of them in another, couple of hours or whatever. No, they're from books, magazines, and calendars. From all three. These happen to be from the backs of a calendar. Like the big calendar, like the butterfly would be big on the actual calendar page. This is like the back of the calendar showing the kinds of butterflies that are in the calendar. The little scenes are from magazines and maybe some are from calendars. And then I've got different things like watch magazines or watch ads. And then I also have things like this. Like this is a piece of a jewelry. I don't know what it was, a pin, a bracelet, a brooch, what it was. But like that was a piece of jewelry and it looks like a castle. So I just trimmed off that much of the jewelry. The other thing too, guys, and I've said it over and over, is when you look at things from a magazine, like here's a few things I've just torn out. Don't just look at what's on the magazine. Here's where I ripped something out and that mushroom shone through. I left it that way. I like that. I like when something shows through to another layer. But don't just look at it from, look for textures and patterns, but don't just look at it like it shows in the magazine. Turn it upside down. Turn it sideways. This was molding on a wall, decorative molding. But if you turn it this way, look, I could just add pencil toppers to that, and they look like giant pencils. Then you could put a little person down here or even a little bird. Let me just cut her. Well, I don't want to cut her out because I like her on that page. Let me find a magazine, something where there's a little person. Hang on. Let me just so I can kind of give you an idea. Let me get over to the people drawer and just find a little person just to kind of show you. Trying to find something small enough to relate to what I'm trying to say. Okay, here's a pat. Okay, here, this will work. Oops. Okay. All right. So for instance, let me take a sip of coffee. Here's a little advertisement or something from a McCall's pattern from the 40s or 50s. Where's my scissors? So let me just kind of, I'm not going to completely fussy cut her out. I'm just going to kind of go leave a little bit of, because I don't want to take the time for all this, but I just want to kind of show you. Give Tina some time to pull some more stuff. Shh, trying to help Tina here. Again, guys, if y'all have any questions or comments to me, put them in caps. I try to keep up with chat, you know, but rolls by pretty quick. Okay, so here's a little person. And now remember, if, let's just say these were giant pencils. If I put some like toppers on them for giant pencils, and you had this one little lady there, you know, I mean, I would probably paint her a different color and, you know, different things like that. But just so you can see that you have different, when you're doing collage, opposites are your friend. Light and dark, large and small, you know, any kind of opposites. Because it gives you such a great contrast. I mean, like right here, let's just, for instance, if I put her in here, that watch gear, that little bit could be wings, that little bit right there could be, that gear could be on her head. See? Now, I'm not much one for using people. I mean, I'll put a person in my collages every now and then, but I like more of a imaginative thing going on with it. If I do people, they're tiny little representations. Like, let's see. Like some of these, here's a few of my inchies that I have left. Although, are they really an inch or are they more? I always have to measure these. I'm never quite sure if they're 1 or 2 inches. They're just shy of 2 inches. So let me see where I found something where I put some people. Let's see here. Okay, here's an example. This is how I put people. They're just little essence of people. See, tiny little people like that. Rather than cutting out people like this in my collages, I'll do stuff like this. I know it's kind of wanting to unfocus. So, let's see if I got any more of the people in it. Here's a little, tiny little scene. So basically, all my collages are done the same way, just this kind of thing. Here's another one with people. Hey, Jeannie. Jeannie, all I did today was show one magazine. And that was on the other episode, part 1. This is part 2 where I'm working on some collages. So anyway, so I don't really use a lot of people. Now, if I was doing something like, you know, the big one that we did, the poster. Where did I put that poster? I think I put it in a portfolio. Did I put it in a portfolio or did I? Oh, here, I rolled it up. So last week, we did a two-part mixed media collage, and it's basically whatever size, it's the same way. But this, I can get more real estate. Now, you're not going to be able to see the whole thing. I'm going to unroll it. So you can see I have more people, in it. Let me unroll it. And this was just done I did a two-parter on this one. And so it's all the same technique. It's just different sizes. So this is the same technique that I use on this. It's just different size. Okay. Yes, I did. Well, Jeannie asked if I got school supplies. We were on Twitter earlier. I got a new pack of the erasers, the white erasers that don't. Here, I'll show my school supply haul, Judy. I got a new pack of rubber bands. I got some of the white polymer erasers. I love the white erasers, whether it's this brand or any brand. The white erasers don't leave red marks like red erasers. So even when I'm using my favorite sketching pencil, like this is my favorite, like sketching pencil, or these Papermate Sharpwriter disposable technical pencils, I don't use these erasers. I try not to. I use these white polymer ones, like that. Okay. And for heavy duty erasing, rabbit trail, I like my Ticonderoga black. I can find one here. I don't have one in my tray. I thought I had one right here to show you. Anyway, my Ticonderoga black with the black eraser. They don't leave marks either, and they're heavy duty. So I got that, Jeannie, and I got me these Sharpies. I think were $1.49 for 3. I always love my, run out of black Sharpies. My erasers, my Sharpie, the rubber bands, and I thought I got one thing else, but I can't remember what it was now. That's all the school supplies I bought today. I behaved. I didn't need any new sniffing crayons either. Oh my goodness. Okay, so let's get back to this. So I might use her on one just to have a person. I'll have to fussy cut her out a little better or paint around her. Anyway, so that's how I usually do people in my collages, is tiny like that or like big like that gargoyle. Okay, all right, so let's see. I still need a couple more things to bring these to life. And like I said, I probably won't do 15. Maybe I'll do about 10 at a time, even though I'm going to glue these on. Okay, here's some bugs. Okay, this bug calendar that I bought a few years ago, at least 2, maybe 3, and I did make a bug hand out of it, and sent one to Noodle. So she has a Don't Bug Me hand, and I did too. Where did I put mine? I came across it when I was cleaning, the big hand with bugs all over it. So this is like from the bug calendar from a couple years ago. I don't know what year, see if I can see a year. Anyway, these are actual photographs. These are not Photoshop. The story behind this bug calendar, and I can't remember the artist, photographer that did it. It's from 2012, because there's the thing right there. These bugs are not Photoshopped. They're not color in Photoshop or anything. These are actual bugs that he collects throughout the years. They change color throughout the seasons and sometimes years. They're different colors throughout different seasons, and then he lines them up and photographs them. So they really are all these different colors. Uh-oh, hang on there. Let's get that back together. Okay, so I might just cut 1 or 2 bugs out. Let me see what colors I might need. Here I need some, I think I don't really want anything. I don't have anything. Well, that one could use something green, but I got a bird on that. Kind of going this way. This has got some purple. I think I'll just get one of these orange ones out. So it's a whole, and I haven't seen it this particular calendar the last couple years, but there's all different kinds of bugs. Now, if you're a bug, if you have a bug phobia, I don't know what it's called. It's not called a bug phobia. There's a name for the phobia of bugs, but these are actual photographs, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, they're actual size. Look, all different kinds of little beetles and bugs. So anyway, yeah. We have already have a flamingo and clown free zone. I don't know if we could do a bug free zone. Oh. And I think I'll paint on antenna if I want any. But bugs are kind of just odd enough to be things that you can use in outer space things. Remember, idea folder. If you get an idea, I start with Post-it notes. If I get, if I write it down on Post-it note, I can end up transferring it to my idea notebook. But you got to write stuff down. And I know we all say that we do, but do we really? Anyway, so when you do something like this with a collage or any kind of project, and an idea comes to you, make sure you write it down, even on a Post-it note, so that you have that idea. Because believe me, and I know I've said it 100 times, I won't get on my soapbox about it, you will forget. You will forget the ideas. All right, so let's see what else I got in here. I don't know why this paper's in here. I think Cam was saving this. It's some kind of specialty paper. And he filed it in here for a reason, but I don't know why, because Cameron filed all my stuff for me. All right, so that's a cool bird. This would be good on a 4x6. Okay. Just flipping through the bugs and birds. I don't need too many more, just a few. And it doesn't have to be birds and bugs. It could be anything alive, Some of these are just giant, though. Like, I can't use this. Now that would be a good background texture. But I'm just kind of chilling today, taking my time. Let's get past all these bugs, birds. I don't know. I might have to find something else. Or I might just go ahead and get started. Let's just go ahead and get started on these. I think I will cut out one more blue right here. I'm going to cut out this blue bit of wing here. At least a half of one, or have it maybe partially on that page. So let me just cut this one out real quick. So I'm hoping that the retreat girls are going to stream tonight. Paula gets her voice back. Okay. I might pick out a couple other pieces of jewelry too. All right, let me put my bugs and butterflies away. And I know y'all are still here because I see chat scrolling, but I'm going to put in a test just so that I don't lose chat. Okay, so now I think what I want to do is find a couple pieces of cool jewelry. See, there's all kinds, and this reminds me and Eileen both had one of these when we were younger. Not a Tiffany fancy one like this, I'm sure. Maybe Eileen did, I didn't. Those little they're like little scarabs, and you squeeze their antenna together and the wings fly open. I've kept this just because of me and Eileen, because we both had one of these. But anyway, I'm gonna have to pull that to let me find something else for an example that could be used. Is that G? No. Okay. All right, so for instance, here's a couple of earrings, but don't look at it earrings, okay? This right here, these jeweled hanging parts right here will make great, on these little cards like this, great planets. Look, that'll make a great planet. Don't know if I want it on that one. I'm watching my colors here. Oh, I could change that sky color like that. These right here, won't take too much time because I'm not going to use it right now, but I want to show you. This right here on this jewelry right here will make great. And I know y'all see me do this a gazillion, I say a gazillion times because I've been doing these collage cards on Ustream for 5 years. It's not like y'all hadn't seen me do it before, but if there's anybody that's watching a recording or something and really wants to, see how the process goes, I don't want to leave anybody out if they haven't seen it. And since I'm working on it anyway, I might as well talk it out, right? And Packard Dye is another one. I don't know if she's still here, but Packard Dye, if y'all want to see great uses of collage magazine stuff, go check out Packard Dye. Oh my gosh, she does amazing collage stuff too. Okay, so just something like this. This could be in a garden. It could be a flower. It could be a shooting star. Because remember, you're going to be adding a lot of paint too. It could be a shooting star. It could be a wing. It could be, we could dress this little girl right up, right? Anyway, just to kind of show you that you can use all kinds of bits. All right, so whittle that down to manageable. Well, you are. I mean, Packard Dye, you do amazing collage. Amazing. I know you don't have the time you wish you did, but when you do have time, you squeeze in some creativity, I'll tell you. All right, so let's see what else I got here. I mean, just all kinds of, look at this. This could be so, now if I was doing one of those posters, okay, a poster size, this whole thing right here could be, and of course I paint around it and on it and over it, but look, here's a whole nebula right here. There's a whole nebula on a poster size piece. So anyway, I know I got off on all that because I was showing you these little castles were part of a brooch or a bracelet or something. All right, so let me just kind of glance here at how many more somethings I might need. I keep losing there it is, a little bit of watch. This could use something else. That goes with that, this, and this. Okay, I think I'm pretty good on that. Hey, Linda, where you been? Is Linda going to stream after hiding from us? Oh, look, here's another one of these. Look, this is not the same one, but there's some earrings. And it's not the same. It's a same kind of thing. That must have been a popular, some kind of a clasp. But again, see, those look like little castles. Well, she planned that then, Eileen. If Linda streamed and no one was there, she did that on purpose. I'm just saying. Because she did not, I'm sure if she would have tweeted, we would have seen it. Or somebody would have. Did she record? Did she record? And what's her channel name? if you're watching the recording, we're talking about someone that we've been trying to get to stream for a while, and she finally did. And she kept it on the DL. Well, we were just wondering about you, Linda, where you disappeared to. But I hope you record it. Please tell us you did. Okay, I think I want that on there. Okay, I think I gotta stop at least for now, picking things out. She didn't record? Oh, good grief. Well, she just better consider that a practice and just, Uh, does she have a channel? Did she save a channel for us? Tell me she did at least that. Linda, you're so bad. All right, let me put these bundles of stuff away. All right, so let's get started on some gluing and painting and whatnot, huh? Well, did you tweet it out? Did anybody know, Linda? Or were you relying on ESP for us to find you? Art from Mars is Linda. Yeah, 'cause she lives in Canada. She says she lives in Mars. She and Jean live like way out on there in Canada. Anyway, so they call it Mars. So Art from Mars. We'll be on the lookout, Linda. We will. All right, let me get some wax paper. Oops, sorry guys, I just bumped the camera again. Reaching for some wax paper there. Yeah, well, I don't know about that, right, Barb? All right. Let me get, I got a fresh palette. Let me get some, I'll use the rest of this jar up. Put a baggie on your jars of matte medium or whatever, but I think I'm just going to probably end up using the most of this because there's not much left in there. I'll dig out a little bit if I need more. All right, let me get a glue brush. The only brushes I keep in water are my glue brushes. And they are getting a little bad. I am going to have to actually probably get rid of my glue brushes and put some newer brushes in the glue brush water. All right, so I'm going to just kind of put my matte medium right over here. And what I want to do, I don't want to get this all matte medium. I don't care if paint and stuff gets on my craft paper desk, but I don't want it crusty. So I'm going to slide, and we're just going to work on a couple at a time. I'll bring them down onto the wax paper so you can see me working on them. In the meantime, I'm just going to kind of get them out of the way and just pick and choose which ones I feel like working on. I will glue all 15. I will do that, but I don't know how many will get painted and actually finished. All right, so we'll just have fun, and I'm enjoying just kind of going a little slower today, taking my time so I can kind of read chat and hang out with you guys too. I do plan on streaming on my usual time on Monday. If y'all follow me on Ustream, you know that I've usually stream every Monday morning at 9 a.m. Eastern. Coffee and Art in the morning. And then I do impromptus throughout the week. Next week, my daughter, son-in-law, and other grandson from California are coming in on Friday. So I will be kind of busy next week, but I still plan on streaming on Monday. So. Okay, so I got my glue and my brush right here. I need a couple baby wipes. Not just for when I get to painting, but to kind of keep my hands. I did buy a scrubby. Oh my gosh. How many times have y'all told me to buy a scrubby? I have it in here right now, because when I had company, I didn't want to lose it. Otherwise, I keep it in the bathroom. This is a miracle in a little lightweight pumice something. It's like nothing. It's like air. It's like nothing to this. This is those Ranger craft scrubbies. OMG. goodness right here. Just saying. Okay. I've been told for years and years, you need to get those craft scrubbies. You need to get a craft scrubby. Well, I finally got one. They're regularly like $4. I got on sale for like $2 in Hobby Lobby clearance. Yeah. They only had one, or I would have bought more than one. I know, Barb told me. Yeah, Barb told me. All right, so I know. So I'm just going to take one card at a time. Oh, let me say this. If I'm just going to kind of lay it down right next to it. But if you want to keep your like layout exact, you can do a couple things. You can take a snap, take a picture of it with your camera, your phone, and then you can look at your phone and see how you had it laid out. Or you can just leave it on the card and go to another blank card and just kind of transfer it over. I'm just kind of laying it right here next to me. And none of them are laid out 100% exact, in an exact fashion. But, and this one is a piece of cardstock, probably about, I'm feeling of it, 90 pound maybe weight. I just cut these are scraps that I cut up, leftover pieces of cardstock, big long things of it, and I cut them down to cards, 3x4 cards. All right, so when I do my collaging, I use golden matte medium, and it doesn't have to be matte. I end up putting a coat of gloss varnish over the whole thing when I'm done, and I paint the backs of the cards black, just so that I can write in gold or silver on the back usually. And I know that I'm just going to kind of be repeating myself if you've seen me do these before, but I want you to, where's Tina? So anyway, I put a coat of matte medium over the whole card, put matte medium on the back of the piece, and put matte medium over the top. And then now I have to find me a gift card. 1 second. Where do I put them? Since I rearranged everything, I'm having to rethink where everything, there they are. Rethink where I put everything. So let me grab a card to use to smooth down. Oops, sorry guys. And then I'll get them all on here and then I'll smooth them down. Okay, so on the back and over the top. And I know it seems like a lot, but if you want no wrinkles, this is how I do it so I don't get wrinkles. Oh, thanks, Barb. No matter how many times you've seen it over the years. Yeah. All right, so I'm going to put that little bit of watch, tuck that back there, and then I cover the whole thing with a nice, generous coat, and then I take a card and just kind of, now, if you're using a magazine image that's thin, the paper is thin in the magazine, you can't be scrubbing down on it. If you're using a calendar page or a heavy book paper, then you're able to do a little bit more scraping. But magazine thin things are going to, you got to kind of be careful. All right, but once you get it down and then paint it on the back with a coat of whatever color, doesn't have to be black, and then we're going to put acrylic paint this into a scene, and put a coat of varnish on it. These things are nice and sturdy, and there's very few wrinkles, if any, if you do that process, if you do those steps. Okay, I'm just gonna, I'll trim this off here in a minute. I'm just gonna try to get some things glued down. Again, I'm just gonna set this right there and put a coat, and get the right side, put a coat of matte medium. Okay, the back of the image over the top, and you got to kind of, now while it's still wet, you can lift up. You can lift these up. Now, if it's thin magazine, like fashion magazines usually have very, very thin paper, they're hard to lift up once you've put the glue on the back and put some glue, some matte medium on it. It's hard to get those back up. They're so thin that once you've stuck them down, they're pretty well stuck down. You can't really relift those thin magazine pages, but you can if it's, some of these thinner, Let's see, how do I want this butterfly to fly? I think I want him to fly this way. Just barely showing there. Okay. Then I'm going to just kind of wipe over the whole thing with the matte medium. Take the card, piece of paper there, and just kind of scrape it all down. Get all the bubbles out and any wrinkles out. Okay, and that's how I don't have wrinkles. Hey, Kelly B. Thanks for being here. Trying to see who else. If I missed anybody, thanks everybody for being here. Hey, Dar. Dar's hanging over there in the corner. Oh my gosh, so good to see you, Dar. Dar has been taking like a personal hiatus, like, oh my gosh, getting herself all together and just like forgetting about you guys. Just saying. No, I know she hasn't forgot about us. I'm just, don't email me. Okay, so there we go. There's a start. Okay. Barb's working away. You might, Barb, someone's looking for, Kelly's looking for you if you hear my voice. I have to yell out if y'all want some. Hey, Jamie. Yeah, Barb's working, so she may, if I shout her out, she might come to the house, come to the chat. Marie, everybody. So that's how I because it's got the matte medium, it's going to have paint, it's going to have paint, and it's going to have a coat of varnish. And people always ask me on the varnish. Let me show that real quick. And it doesn't have to be gloss. I just like the way the gloss looks on the finished cards. If you like the look of matte, then use matte. But the reason I like this is the Delta Ceramcoat Exterior Interior Gloss Varnish. It costs about $10, but use a coupon. Get it for 50%, 40%. Is it doesn't stick your pages in an art journal as long as you let it dry. If you put this on your art journal pages and let it dry completely, your pages won't stick using this. Or at least I've never had them have it happen. So that's the varnish that I also use on all my art cards. Okay. All right. So when this starts getting kind of crusty here, I'll kind of wipe it down a little or flip it over, turn it over, whatever. Okay. I missed how Dar Hodges. Oh, can I even say that, Dar? Is that a secret? Or can I say that? Okay, so no, the chat. Okay, so again, and I'm feeling one side's a little slicker than the other, so I'm using the slick side because I want to paint the back a flat matte black. I don't varnish the backs. I just flat paint black matte. And by the way, all my paints, I just use Americana craft paints for all my collaging, mixed media, even the poster. The poster I showed you earlier, all craft paint. I've just found I like Americana, I like craft paint, I like the colors. The pages do not stick when you put these in journals if you use craft paint. If you're using the more expensive, nothing wrong with it, don't email me. If you're using, the nicer, more artist grade paints in your art journals, they will stick unless you do something, baby powder them, wax them, treat them, or something. But I found that as long as you let your pages dry, craft paint doesn't, and I can't speak for every single brand. I use Americana. It will not stick your pages together. And there's just such a variety of color. They're cheap, and so that's just what I use. It's all good. Okay, so Artie Dar, our Artie Dar, apparently has a boyfriend. She said I could say. So, congratulations, Dar. Oh, that would be great to post on Facebook when you get, ready to do that, Dar. Yay for our Dar. Dar's had a rough time of some things, so it's good to see her having some joy right now. Good for you, Artie Dar. Okay, so this one is thin, so it's starting to wrinkle. So before it sets up too much, I'm going to go ahead and just kind of get some of those wrinkles out because that's a thin paper. This is not wrinkling at all. This is a calendar page. It's not going anywhere. Okay, got this little bird. So it just depends on your paper. You'll be able to tell. I think I'll move his little beak down here so I can paint around it. And so right at this stage, I do not worry about any thing hanging over the edge. Other than you don't want to sit here too long on your wax paper or it'll stick to the wax paper. But, so there's that. So when I get all 15 of them done, I'll go around and trim them. Okay. Tina, are you still working? Okay, so there's that one. So I've got about 3 or 4 done over here. I need to kind of, let's get, all right, so now this is starting to get like, it's going to get so sticky that the back is going to stick to it. So I'm just going to kind of, let's just kind of fold it over a little bit there. So we can continue using this sheet, but it's not going to be gluing the card down. Okay, let me just get, I'm not sure how I want this right there, and that on top. And this little piece of watch. This one's kind of plain. I'm not sure where I'm going to go with this one. So, thanks again, everybody, for being here and hanging out. We all just enjoy just chatting. Doesn't matter. I mean, we all sit here and watch paint dry. You're gluing and taking pics of the progress. Oh, yay, Tina. Good for you. You know, I don't think that I've ever really done process pictures of my collaging. Maybe something like a poster I might have, like the sloth or something like that. But I just usually just post the finished art cards. So good for you, Tina. I'm glad. And I'm trying to kind of keep my hands clean. Although, when I'm done, it's going to be Craft Scrubby to the rescue, Barb. That thing works like, it's like magic. I'm not kidding you. That Craft Scrubby is like magic. Okay. All right, so let's just keep going here. Even though, again, I said I'm not really trying to hurry here. I just want to kind of enjoy the process today. And another thing too, Tina, or anybody, when you're looking for collage elements, look for things that match up, that you go, oh my gosh, that just so matched up. Like for instance, this is a piece of jewelry that I cut in half. But look how these it almost looks like a tree ring. You see how that matched up really nicely? And this looks like reminds me of tree rings, like represents tree rings with the trees. Look at that, see? And now we're going to put a bird on it. So anyway, and you know, I mean, everything doesn't have to be like a major, like, you know, doesn't have to tell like a Star Wars story, for goodness sake. You know, I mean, you can just tell a little mini, like a sentence, okay? It doesn't have to be an opus. It can just be a little sentence in a story. All right, so there we go. Again, he's hanging off the edge there. We'll trim all that down after a while. No, it doesn't have to match. I'm not saying I'm just saying look for things that happen like that, Tina. That, you know, that just like kind of accidentally happened when I put that with the tree. But look how it kind of looks. For me, it reminded me of the rings in a tree, even though it's a piece of jewelry. Okay? I'm just saying sometimes you'll see those things happen. You don't have to try to match things up, Tina. Don't panic. Don't panic. Oh my goodness, Tina's panicking. Okay. All right. So this is a bit of landscape. But look, I'm going to turn it over, and that's going to be water now instead of sky. Okay. Then I have these other clouds that will be up here. And I kind of think I want to tuck that under there. I want it a little bit like that. So I have a little bit of the land and a little bit of the sky. And then I want this watch part to be part of a mountain range. And then I want this one to be down in the ocean. That's too much. I'm going to cut a lot of that off. I think I'm going to go this way and cut that down. Okay. So you can kind of lay things out, and even though it overlaps, it's like, I mean, off the page, so to speak, it's okay, because you're going to trim that all off later. It's a little better if you let it sit for just a minute, because if you try to trim this with scissors now, it's going to probably gum up. So just kind of set it aside, wait till you hit it with the heat gun, and then trim it. No panicking. Good, 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 Tina. Okay, so again, this is getting a little gluey, so I want to go down a little bit farther here. Okay, I'm missing a piece off of this somewhere. Get a little bit excess off there. I'm missing some bit of, I had a watch part for this. And it went, oh, well, no, that's not it, but I'm going to take it from that lady. And I put my little castle kind of right here. My little watch part hill right there. And you can get more elaborate, more, you know, add, I mean, you can get like I showed you on the other ones where I add little tiny people. You can add little, I mean, these are like less than 2 inches. So you can get a lot of story in the real estate you have. Okay, yeah, keep going. I'm talking out loud, Tina. All I'm doing is gluing. So keep going there, Tina. Okay, so there we go. Okay. Yeah, how's that going? Is Jess here? Hey, Jess. How Jess is up in Canada too, and apparently there's a lot of brush fires going on up there, fires in the woods up there, and it's been real smoky. And so yeah, how would like an update on that, Jess? Well, you gotta. That's the thing is, Teresa, and if you weren't here, well, you were here earlier. I had all 15 of them laid out. You know, they're not in exact position, but I have all the elements kind of laid out before I poured out any glue. Okay. So yeah. I think I want this to go. No, I think I want it to go that way. No, I want that in the sky because I want the bird right there. So, you know, I kind of had it laid out, but it's not an exact science. Gotta say, at least not for me, it's not. And you know, as you lay 1 or 2 elements down, more things come to you. I mean, I can always go get more stuff out, but you know, I'm trying to just kind of keep it. Linda, art unit. Okay. All right, so let's see. I've got 10 of them done. Okay, so let me just keep going here. Oh no, I got 9 of them done. Let's see, do I want that as another element there? kind of scrape it all down. Look, scrape it down. Get any wrinkles out. You like that bird, Eileen? Put a bird on it. I got two here with birds on it. Okay. I'm not going to do this lady one because I even took the watch away from her. So. Some flowers, those, I know there's a name for those kind of flowers that hang down. Anyway, I'm covering them up, so. I think I want that up there. Gives a contrast with the black. And my little castle. That behind that. Okay. Like again, I'm going to trim them all down after I hit them with the heat gun. I didn't see what Jess said about the fires. Are they under control? Are the fires under control, Jess? I missed it. Scrolled off. Use this little butterfly here. Oh, I think I want to put this on there first. And then the butterfly around there. I can decide how much I want to those flowers on there. And I got this little I don't think I need the bugs. I got the butterfly there. I think I'll hold off on that bug. I might eat it somewhere else. A little under that wing there. How we doing, Tina? Couple more. I think I want to do it this way. Don't even want that much, a little less. And this little castle can go right here. Almost use that bug here. Maybe I'll have it not even as a bug, but just as a color element right up here. Cut some off. Okay. They are 121 active fires. Oh my gosh. 1 kilometer away? Yikes. Hey, Mitzi. Let's keep an eye out. Yeah, I guess so, Jess. I guess so. I've got one more here. I think this is the last one, guys. How we doing, Tina? You got a couple ready to start painting on in a minute? I really like this little bit of stair. I'm going to put that right here. I kind of have some little bit of an idea where I'm going to go when I get to the paint. This one's going to have a lot cut off of there. I don't know that I even need that because I got that. I'll keep that for the girl. I don't need that. Okay. Okay. All right. I think I got them all done. All right. So now I need to take my craft scrubby and go get my hands clean. Throw all that away. Put my glue brush back in the water. And let me wash my hands real quick, guys. And then we will, I don't want her. She's not in the picture, literally. All right, let me wash my hands real quick because it's crusted up. So 1 second, taking my craft scrubby. I mean, it's like a miracle. I mean, I did miss a couple places on my finger, but let me show you. I mean, it just like now it's just peeling off. Look, that's how good that craft scrubby works. And I just kind of hurried too. There's a couple places left on my fingernails, but oh my gosh, Barb, it's a miracle. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is kind of zoom in at one more time because I'm going to work a little closer. Let's zoom in a couple times. Where's my focus card? Okay, it's Denise. Hang on 1 second, guys, while I'm focusing. Hey, Lisa, I'm streaming. What's up? Yeah, he's downstairs. Bye. I think that's pretty focused. All right, so now we're just a little closer in so I can work on these. All right. I think I'm zoomed in good enough, well enough for you to see the process. So. All right. So they feel pretty dry, so let me just go ahead. I mean, they're not like dripping wet. Now, you want to make sure they're pretty dry. These are, because I've been working on for, you know, an hour or whatever. But you want to make sure that they're not like drippy wet, because then when you turn them over to cut them down, it's going to be mushy, and you don't want it mushy. You want it, you know, you want to be able to cut. So I'm just going to trim all the excess around like that. And just kind of flatten them out. Now, if they roll a little bit, but believe me, by the time you get paint on the back, paint on the front, a coat of varnish, they're going to be flat as pancake. Trust me. I mean, look at these right here. Look how even these small ones. Look at this. Look at that. They're hard. See? with the paint, the varnish. They're nice and they're flat. Okay. Did you get your email? If you sent it in the last 2 hours, Annabelle, did you know? But are you? Did you? Because I haven't checked mail. I've been here. Did you get your the baby book? Did you get the baby book already? For those of y'all wondering what I'm talking about, there's a Debbie in California sent us a 1950 vintage baby pictures in an advertisement, like for a, I don't know, it wasn't a credit union or I forget what it was for now. But anyway, so we're all going to alter them. Oh, Kate, we showed your stuff or on part 1. This is part 2, Kate. Kate the Skate is here. I showed all your art cards and we already did a giveaway and gave away 2 of them. On part 1. I haven't uploaded it to YouTube yet. I'll do that after this and upload them at the same time. You're welcome. Thank you for the ATCs. Everybody had a fit over them, Kate. And I showed them all on part 1 and we did a giveaway. Yay. Okay, Annabelle. So Annabelle, I will answer you on the email. You will be sending yours to Stacks. Okay, let me see if she's still here. She was here earlier. Yeah, Stacks, I believe. Where's my, hang on, let me just double check. I gotta find my list. I put it somewhere. And the big clean out. I'm hoping I didn't lose anything. Okay, yeah, so Stacks, who is here, you and Stacks need to get together because you're going to send it to Stacks, who's here. If y'all want to email, if y'all want to message each other right now, feel free. Because you will be, after you alter the baby book, you will be sending it to her. Okay? And also, I did show your YouTube channel name. Okay. I'm writing, I know I have your email, but I'm going to write it down again. Okay. Yeah, it was awesome. Thanks for sharing. So, yeah, it's on Ustream right now, but I'll upload it to YouTube shortly. It'll be under Happy Mail. You gotta go, Jamie? Okay. We'll see you later. Thanks for stopping in. I know it's good to see you and Artie Dar. And there's OK Carol over there in the corner. Jess popped in. Okay, so let me continue on here because I'm just sitting here talking and I know this, But if you're watching the recording, it comes to a slow spot or somewhere where I run get coffee, just fast forward it. No big deal. Okay. So I'm just going to trim them all down because I've been sitting here for a few minutes. So they're not mushy. Still with us, Tina? Just trim off any overhang. Yeah, however y'all want to get in contact. Twitter, email each other, whatever. Because this way we don't have to give everybody's addresses to everybody. You're just exchanging addresses with one person. Because you're just going to pass it on to one person. And hopefully the little baby, vintage baby book will make it all the way around the world. It's going to Australia, Netherlands, UK, Canada, and back to the US through, I think it's 22 people. And so when you get the book, the instructions are all in there. When you get the book sent to you, You just get in contact with me and I'll tell you the next person. That way we don't have to wonder where the book is. And we know things happen. If it gets lost, it gets lost. We're just, you always take your chances on a round robin. But we're just, hoping it gets back to me. I'll do a YouTube video on it. I mean, a Ustream. Well, YouTube and Ustream. And then we're going to send it on to Deb. So that's the route. Debbie Boring. Okay, so we can trim. And she's not boring. That's just her name. I always like to say that. So people don't think I'm calling her boring. Just trimming off all the excess. And, I mean, try to get it out in a week or so. That's, with 22 people at a week each, not including mailing time, it's going to take half a year, which is fine, whatever. But it's just, we want to do it, fairly expeditiously. Okay. Alrighty. Bye, Barb. Thanks for doing the stop. Well, you did more than a drive-by today. Thanks for being here, Barb. Okay, so I'm just going to kind of keep something here for focus, something to focus on here. And we'll do a little bit of painting on the cards. All right, so let's see. I'm going to try to pick maybe 5 or, well, just to lay out. I might do more depending. I kind of like that one's kind of appealing to me. I mean, I like them all, but I just can't with the camera close up. I think we can fit 6. Maybe we'll do 6 in the focus, and then I'm trying to find the more interesting ones. That might be kind of like that one. Maybe that one. Let's see which 6. Pick out 6. Let's do 1 or 2 birds. Eileen liked the birds. Okay, that. All right, let's maybe these. I think we can get 8 in here. We'll start with that. Okay, we'll do these other ones another time or later, because I know I'm not going to have time to finish, 15 card or 14 cards here. But let's see what we can do with these. Okay. Well, it's good. Good. Thanks for letting me know you got your you got it in. I'm glad it got there this soon. Do you ever start on a black background? Yeah, I talked about that earlier. It doesn't really so much matter the color that you're going to paint on top of, but but if you're going to be painting like blending scenes and stuff where you want to do a little story, you want to start where your paint's you're not going to be fighting the background with your color. If you're painting on a black background and you're going over it with yellow or red, they're so translucent, you're not going to get a bright yellow or a bright red on a black background. Okay, so let's see. Let me just get a couple of palette or 2 here, and since I rearranged everything, I need to do it. I'm gonna have to do another room tour. I watched Ben. Y'all know Cinderblock Studio Ben. He said that after he watched my little room tour, he did one too. So if y'all haven't seen Cinderblock Studios, Ben, who we did the Ben books. Anyway, he did a studio tour of his space, his studio. He's got big space. And he's so steady with the camera. It made mine feel like, oh my gosh, I look like I was just so shaky doing mine, but I, trying to be attached to the lappy and moving around the room. I said, it makes me want to redo mine, Ben. So anyway, check out Ben's YouTube, Cinderblock Studios, let me see what it's called again, DMC Studios. Just look for Cinderblock Studios and you'll find him. Okay, so now I want to, let me move those out of the way because I'm not going to use those. And get the glue and the scissors out of the way, and I'm kind of focused right here. Yeah. Well, and it's kind of like, and also, Kate, I was saying before that same thing with when you do any kind of napkins, when you use napkins for like backgrounds and stuff. If you start out on white paper, the napkin, when you peel off the layers, if you do it on white first rather than on colored paper or stenciled or painted scrape paint or something like that, the colors won't be as vibrant. It's the same kind of thing here. When you're painting over and blending, you don't want to have to fight a background, especially if you use red or whatever. All right, so I know I'm going to need some green, so I'm just going to I got my little palette here, and this is dry, but I'm just going to put out, and I always have a tendency to put out too much. You don't need much for these, just to, especially if you're going to use multiple colors. I'm going to use, and I just got a new citron green. I don't have my Secret Sodos tip right with me. What do you call it? Secret had a tip of the day where you take your staple remover, the little teeth staple remover thing, and just clamp it and you'll cut it right through. But since I don't have mine right here, I'm just going to use my scissors. But it does work great to do that. Okay, so I want a little citron, a little of that. Okay, so let me tell you the colors I'm using. Citron green. People ask me. Hauser medium green. All Americana here, as far as I can tell, that I'm going to use. I want this is slate gray. And I'm just putting a little bit on I just use coffee lids for palettes. Again, that may not work for everybody. A black palette may not work for everybody. And if you want to see your truer colors better, it's probably best to use white palette or or glass with white paper under it. But I've just been using these for so many years. It doesn't bother me to go paint on top of paint on top of paint and still see the colors. Okay, I want a little bit of this might be too bright. Don't want, well, yeah, I think I'm going to go with pumpkin orange. Just a little. Because these cards are little. I'm looking at my colors here, what I might need. I'm probably going to need a little bit of raw sienna. A little yellow ochre, which I'm getting low on. I need to get some more yellow ochre. Come on, I know there's a little bit left in there. Do I need to clean out where's my pokey tool? This is almost empty, I think. There we go. Just a little yellow ochre. I think I got a little clogged right there. There we go. Not much left in there. Did you ever? Okay, it's the same question. All right, and I'm going to need black and white, which I have the larger bottles. I always buy large bottles of black and white because I use them a lot. And I'll try to get to the point where I can at least maybe varnish one or two. All right, let me make sure my scroll stopped. Hang on, guys. I lost the chat. I lost the scroll. Stop scrolling. Good to know. Let's find any more questions. Gotcha. Bye, Jeannie. Okay. And I might need, well, let's just start with those. Yeah, I'm going to need a blue, which my favorite blue to use is Blue Harbor. I like that blue, so we'll put a little of that in there. Maybe we might need a little red, because I do have some red touches here and there I might need, but we'll see. I'm not going to get it out yet. And another reason you don't want to put out too much, these are about the size of a quarter. You don't want to put out too much just because they dry quick. Now they'll get a skin on them and you can kind of poke into them and get to the wet part of the paint. But after they last about an hour, Okay, so I'll probably, let's see if I can do this so you can kind of see some. Well, probably what I'll do is I'll just hold up one card at a time and work on it. That's probably the best way. And that way you can see me with the paint too. That way I'll hold one card up at a time. All right, so my favorite brushes for especially little things like this are small angle brushes. Something like this. This might be a little big for some areas. I'll get a small one too. But I like angle brushes because you can get, there's a lot of versatility to that. I'll get a tiny little flat. And, oh, I got a chip in my nail. Hang on, guys. Let me take a little piece of emery board here. Okay. All right. And then I'm gonna use my fingers and some baby wipes. Get some fresh baby wipes. All right, so that's my tools. Craft paint, a couple of brushes, my coffee lid palette, acrylic, Americana paints. All right, so let's go ahead and start with this one. And what I'll probably do is get the backgrounds painted in, and then I'll go back and get the detail, do details. Okay, so on this one, I know I want some more. I want the forest to extend. I'm just picking up about 2 colors of the green. Sometimes it's easier just to use your finger to blend. Okay, with the forest over here. And Tina, if you're here, this is the part where you want to cover up. Oh, and let me tell you this too. I try to remember everything. Because there's a coat of matte medium over the whole thing is the reason you can wipe away and blend. If these magazine images, especially the thin ones, were not coated completely with matte medium, you could not do this and completely wipe it off. It won't work. I mean, you could maybe on the thicker, nicer, slicker papers get that to work, but it's not going to blend and wipe off if it's not coated with matte medium. Okay, so the other thing too that I do at the beginning is let me tell you this tip. If you're using collage, I know on small things like this you have to fussy cut things because they're small, but like see that raw edge right there where I tore that? If you go over that with a color to get rid of the white edge and just kind of blend it out with your finger or brush, and because it's got the matte medium all over it, you can completely wipe back right up to the edge of where you put that, where you tore it. And you can get rid of the white edges, depending on you want to blend it with whatever color or whatever. But you can get rid of the white edges and blend in your collaging because of the matte medium, okay? And also, the other thing is, because we're going to coat this with a coat of varnish, it's not going to matter if some of the paint's flat, this image might be a matte, this one might be a shiny, it's not going to matter. Now, if you don't like gloss varnish and you like the look of matte, then coat the whole thing with a matte varnish. It's as long as it's cohesive when you're done. Okay, and Pam Carriger uses Soho paint wipes. Amazing on dry paint. Okay, I've never heard of Soho paint wipes. Is she? She's not UK. Is that a UK or is that just a weird brand name? Never heard of them. Yeah, I never heard of them either. So, and let me get my water right here. I'm so used to my Huggies baby wipes. I don't know if I could change. Okay, so let me rinse that out. Now, I know I'm going to want this to be, like space up there. So I'm going to just get some black. I want to go around that beak right there. I want to go right up to that edge. And I'm going to blend in that watch some of it looks shiny and some of it looks matte. You just kind of have to ignore that while you're working, knowing that at the end you're going to make it all cohesive with some whatever varnish of choice, matte or shiny, just to make it all cohesive, you know. But like right there where I got it on the feather right there, it'll just wipe off, see? And then with the baby wipe, you can get it, you know, because it's damp. I'm trying to keep it under camera. You can just, I mean, it's just amazing that you can wipe it all away with the baby wipe. Or whatever it is. Eileen. You can get them at Amazon's or Jerry's. Okay, so Eileen is recommending or has suggested, because Pam Carricker uses Soho paint wipes. Do you think, now this is just me, Eileen, what if they're just baby wipes with a brand, with the art name? Because you know, when they put an art name to it, it sells, you know, you have to sell it for more. I'm just, don't email me, people. I'm just, okay, so now I could make this green behind my forest almost into like a mountain shape behind my bird. See right there? So now there's like a mountain shape behind my bird. And I'm going to paint stars and some, maybe some little planets, shooting stars, whatever. I have my favorite motifs right now in my art. I like watches with representing time. You know, I have certain things I like. Doesn't mean I'll always use them or always like them. Okay, so I think I'm going to take these trees right here and just kind of blend them down to the tree ring. Just kind of paint that in like that, I think. And see, now we got the little bird is standing on the rings of time. Dancing on the rings of time. That sounds good for a title, doesn't it? Dancing on the rings of time. Okay. So now underneath I could do a couple of things. I could put this into water. Let's just do that. Just start out with some blue for now. We can go in there with some other colors. Let's put the rings of time, dancing on the rings of time in the water. And these cards, if anybody's curious, they're 3x4. They're bigger than ATCs. ATCs are 2.5 by 3.5. These are just a little bigger. So I might put some water here, some waves or some water splashing or something like that. So there's that one painted just without any embellishments or anything. She's just doing her enabling job. Yes, Eileen has to do that job. That's why she sits in the corner with her enabling shirt on. So I'm going to stop with the background on this one now. But do you see how we blended the woods into the sides, made it almost like a mountain there? Got some space and sky stuff going on. The bird's beak, I'll have to kind of paint in there a little better with a smaller brush in a little bit, but I want to get the backgrounds done. And again, it's not mattering what gets on the back because I'm going to paint these solid black. And then when I sign them, I like to sign them with silver or gold gel pens. Okay. Sometimes I'll put my initials here on the front, and I normally, if I do an art exchange with people or something like that, I don't usually put, you know, maybe tiny initials on the front, but, you know, I just like to make sure that, you know, I have my name on the front. But anyway, so there we go. So there's one. See, I'm just taking my time. All right, so let's pick up another one. Let's go, because I've got the blue on my brush here. So this is what we're starting with here. This is the inside of a watch thing, the sky behind it that can paint in or out. This right here is part of a watch, but it looks like a ship. Okay. So I think what I'm going to start with here is I'm going to get the little area of sky, kind of blend that little watch area in with the sky. I can go back in with clouds and more things, you know. Okay, whoops. I think I'm going to get the smaller brush because this one's a little tighter. This has got some tighter spaces. And also, don't feel like you have to keep every bit of anything. Like there's this piece of this watch sticking out here. You don't have to keep it. You don't have to, you can paint out things. That's the beauty of this. You don't have to keep anything in your picture you don't like or don't want. And I'm going to pick up a little on my finger just because it's quicker. And kind of blend that in and then wipe it back. Okay. Thanks, honey. So you can just go and wipe anything back that you want. And I'll probably go in here with some, maybe a shooting star on this side and some clouds coming right over the top of that. So thanks, guys, for just hanging out. We're all kind of waiting on, probably 9 o'clock tonight, 8, 9 o'clock when Xandra will probably stream from the retreat during Paula's usual time. Paula's Journal Artista, and she usually streams every Wednesday and Saturday, and they're at the retreat this week, about 20, 25 girls there, and I'm just going to get my little baby wipe and get some off that little wing right there. But they plan on streaming their her usual time is at 9, 8, probably between 8 and 9. There's no exact time because they're at the retreat. Okay, I need a little bit darker. I want some midnight blue. This is called Prussian blue. I have midnight. Let's see. Here's midnight. He's trying deep midnight and Prussian. So one's just a little bluer and darker. This one's a little grayer, but I've already got some kind of gray blues. I got a gray and a gray blue there. So I'm going to go with a little bit bluer blue there. I can mix it with those two blues together if I want to tone it down or whatever. I don't know if they're all going home tomorrow. I think I heard some of them say Monday. I think Carrie and Paula are actually leaving on Monday. I think. That's what she said last night. So I'm just going to mix a little bit of the Prussian blue and a little bit of that Harbor blue to kind of get a kind of in-between blue there. Like that. Because I want to mix this blue and this black. So you can kind of see how that'll work. You can always go in there with finer brushes and things later. Or if it'll wipe back because of the matte medium. But I'm going to put some clouds over this whole thing. So you can kind of see how that blended in right there for the sky. Oh, I got an itch on my leg. There we go. See? Then there's another little area in there where those clouds can come in here. Clouds can come right up over there. This can be turned into another thing. I can add some more. Let's add a little bit of, mix up a little dark brown here. I could have put some dark brown out, but gray color. Yeah, I'm sure they'll all sleep for a week. Okay, so I'm thinking, do I want this to be part of its own thing? Which I kind of do. That right there, it's kind of its own little thing. And then this will be something separate, so I want to, I think I'll put blue. I think I'll have water down here. So again, don't be afraid to paint over things. You don't have to have, things can go away. It's okay. Okay, I think what I'm going to do is pick up just a tiny bit of that blue, and I think I'm going to have this rose underwater. I'm going to put that rose, so I'm just going to add some water, right up, kind of splash, it's going to splash up on that rose right there. Okay, now I don't want to necessarily lose that butterfly wing, so I'm going to go in there with the Prussian blue, and so it's a distinctive blue from the wing, because I don't want to lose that wing. I want you to be able to tell that's a butterfly there, but I still want it to be underwater. So I'm going to go in there too. I'm just talking out loud as I'm working, guys, so you can kind of see. And even could have some of this light blue. Let me lighten that blue up a little. Have the butterfly wing be water itself. Have the wing, this butterfly wing, turn into water. So let's see if we can pull that off. That's what I like to say. Let's see if we can make that work. I mean, because I can have something in my head and I just can't get it to do exactly what I want, you know. But out of that little bit of blue, now I'm going to add a little bit of white because I want it to splash up. Let's see. I might have to let that sit for a second because it might be too wet. Yeah, it's too wet right now to get white. So I'm going to just let that butterfly wing set for just a second. So you can kind of see where we're going with that one. And see down here I'm going to have white foam splashing up here. And whoa. Okay. And and the same thing, I'm going to have this butterfly wing turn into a splash this way. And we're going to have some splash coming up this way. Have some clouds up in here. Let me see. This might be dry enough now to work on it. Okay. Let's see. Let me get my pokey. Oh. Hang on. Clean that off. I want my pokey tool. Let's see. Now, if that's going to go this way and that's going to go that way, let's have, maybe we'll just have a shooting star coming right in over the top of this arch. Coming over that. I'm just using a pokey tool because I could get a, what do you call it, a liner brush out. Let me get a piece of clean. I need to make that thinner. Drag it out. There we go. Oh, sorry guys, I'm off camera. Good grief. I'm so zoomed in that I have to really be aware. Okay. Let's see if I can get that with the pokey tool. I might have to get out a brush. Make a little tail on it, kind of fuzz it out there. Okay, let me put in my test here to make sure my chat's scrolly. Oh, I did kind of scroll off. Hang on. Thanks, Eileen. Yeah, my chat quit scrolling a little bit ago. Xander will be streaming on our channel tomorrow night, too. Okay, good, Eileen. Good to know. I gotta keep clicking. My scroll bar gets, hung up on a Ustream sometimes. Okay, so now I think what I want to do though is I just want to have a couple stars, not too many because I want to put clouds coming out. So let's see if we can do that. So we just got a couple stars there, and then over here a couple. If you get them, you can wipe it away, while it's wet, but. Okay, so I'm going to do that. Okay, that looks like too much. Let me wipe that one off. It almost look like, I don't want it to look like eyes on the butterfly, which might be cool, but I don't want eyes on the butterfly. Alright, so now I'm going to get a little bit of, my brush is just damp. Don't want to, and another thing, I'm not adding any water. you know, if I need to water something down, it's usually after the paint starts getting a little crusted over, starts drying a little bit. I might dip my brush in and kind of re-wet an area. But when I'm just basically just painting, I'm not adding water. Okay, I'm not adding water. All right, so let's see up here. I'm going to try to stay under camera. Let's see what we can do here. I want a little bit of clouds kind of floating in here. Like that. And I want a cloud to break the plane right there. Very little, very tiny. I don't know if you can see how little and tiny this is. I mean, there's my fingernail. Barely touching. You don't need, you know, it's just a little tiny bit. And then in here, I think I'm going to kind of fluff up these kind of clouds right behind this butterfly wing here. A little bit, not too much, because it's kind of already, you know, you already can tell that's what it is. All right, and now down here, I think this is set up enough now where I can add some water in here. So what I'm wanting to do is have, like this is under, kind of popping out of underwater. So I'm going to kind of try to make it have some kind of waves, some misty water coming up like this. Yeah, crusty bits, yeah. And just kind of, you know, just imagine what's going on in your little story, Tina. Maybe there's a little eddy right in here, a little pool of water right in there. Right in the rose right there. Kind of blend that, and then, you know, maybe there's a few more little areas where the water's washing up like that. It's more bright here in the front because it's right up in your face right here. And you can always just, let me just get a little watery, just adding on just a touch of water right there, but not into my paint. I'm not adding water into there. I made another little separate little pool over here, and I'll just put a couple little splashes down in here. Okay, it's watered, kind of watered down white. Okay, now I'm going to get the excess water out of my brush and come back over here to the drier paint so that I can have like thicker paint to come over here because I wanted to add some, you know, splashes coming off of the butterfly wing here. Some little wave things coming up. Let's see, where do I want them to go? And the paint gets, you know, feathered out because it's so dry. I might add a little bit more blue to kind of make it blend just a little bit right in there. Keep it kind of subtle. Like that. Okay, now I need this, when this sets up, I need a little bit more clarity right here on these. It's not quite set up enough. Because the paint's wet, you're just going to wet paint over wet paint, just blending it. You're not going to have a layer. If it's wet on wet, it's not going to layer, it's going to blend. Okay? If you want another layer of paint, you got to wait till the layer underneath is dry. And this is all acrylic, by the way. Okay? So, there we go. I think I'm going to call that one done. Okay, so now I can go back to this one again, now that's kind of set up. And again, we might want to, let me get my little pokey tool. We'll go back up here. And I might want to add some other little stars and things in the watch part itself. Just kind of, you know, feather them out here, there. Okay. Maybe we'll have, I don't know if I want a planet over there or a shooting star. I think we'll just put a, let's put an orange kind of planet right up there because the bird's orange. We'll just put a little orange something up there. kind of a pink. Well, it's kind of coral, I should say. It's kind of coral. That's bright pink, but it fades into a coral. So I'm just going to put that right there. Okay. And again, you can always just take the watered down white paint, and rather than painting in individual stars, now you take your chances when you do this. It's very little on that brush, very little water and paint, and you can kind of flick it down on there, but it might get thick and it might go somewhere you don't want. If that's the case, you can wipe it away while it's wet, and this is all matte medium, so you can definitely wipe that out because you got matte medium. But the paint where you're adding the white flicks on top of the black paint, you know that's there. You'll just have to paint that out. Okay, I just want a couple more defined stars like that. I almost could have this be like a volcano. Need a little tiny dash of red. Just a drop of red. Thanks, guys. All right, so now I'm going to get my tiny, this is how big the brush is. Just a little flat. You could use a pointy or round. I like flat brushes, whether it be angle flats or just square flats, rather than rounds. I don't know why, I just feel like I have more control with the flat brush. Okay, so I'm going to take a little tiny bit of the red, and let's just establish that there's a volcano back here. Okay. Add a little bit of blue. I don't know. It's just something coming out. A little red. Just a tiny bit of orange. I've got probably way too much paint here. Kind of feather it out so it looks like there's something coming out of this mountain back here. So I'm going to start with a little bit of orange, red, a little tiny touch of blue. And then now when that dries, I can go in with a smaller brush and just add a few little bit of white, or you can also do, what I showed before. You can take a tiny bit of white or any color. We can do it with a little bit of blue, or you can do it with red and white, or don't get pink, but you can add a little bit on a baby white like that, and you can make foggy. It'll work for fog. It'll work for mist. It'll work for smoke. Any kind of, say, foggy looking kind of edge. Now, you got to get little paint, just a little bit, or it'll just paint it, not fog it. Okay, let's go ahead and streak a couple of those little stars like that. Let's do that. Okay. Oh, what? Been there all day, but it wasn't going. Okay, can y'all see that? All right, so again, I think I'll get a smaller brush. Let's get a little tiny, not quite a liner, but a tiny pointy brush. Tiny. Always wet your brushes before you put them in the paint. And I'm just going to get a tiny little bit of white. And it's kind of flared out, but it's not bothering me because I just want that very tip right now. I want to be able to come up here in this volcano and just have a little, just have a tiny bit of, like you can tell something's coming out. It's got to be little though. If you want things to look far and near, you have to remember how, close. I mean, you want it to be like, you want that to look really far away. You know what I mean, Vern? So just a little bit like that. I know it's probably not focusing very well. All right. Now I'm going to go in here with some yellow ochre and some white and just try to fix that beak, because you can't really see that beak very well. Now I'm going to have to set this down for a second to get a straight line here. Needs to have a little more white. It's not going to show up. Okay, I'll let that white sit there for a second, and I'll add some more yellow ochre on the beak. Vern wondered if Vern went to Maryland. All right, so I think I want him to look like he's standing like in a reflective pool or some water. I think I'm going to bring this tree down just a little bit more, the trunk down into the, and swirl a couple more things there. We could add some, like a little bit of shades of green and put that in the what do you call it, rings. Just have a little bit more green in the rings. That. It doesn't matter too much because I'm going to kind of put water around this here in just a second. All right. Let me go in here with my pokey tool now. Just go back here on this beak. I just want to add some yellow ochre on the beak where I painted some white on it, just so it kind of, you can tell it's the beak. Might go back under with a little black shadow under it, but I just want to kind of get the idea of where the beak is going. I almost want to steampunk out his eye, like a gear with a micron pen, and do a gear steampunk goggle thing. It's very little. You have to look close at this subtle. Okay. Yes, Jean and CB. Oh well, I don't want to say on camera what happened to them last night. Okay, I'm sitting on my foot. I've got to get off my foot there. Oh. You can tell it in chat, Eileen, but I'm not going to repeat that on the recording. All right, so there's what we got so far. Now, I want this to be like water. So I'm going to get a light blue and some white. I need the smaller brush. And make it kind of a gray, kind of a gray blue there. Now, let's see what I want to decide here. Do I want an edge right there? Or do I just want the water to kind of come across? Because I want it to look like it's reflecting. Maybe from the sky? I don't know. And also, you can take and kind of blend with your finger, or do the, with the baby wipe, you can make a, misty look. But I don't want to lose this. If I get too crazy with the water, I'm going to lose the ring. I don't want to lose the rings. I just want you to be able to tell that there's water here, but not, I want it to be, I don't want to lose that. Let's see, like I didn't want to go right over that ring right there. Okay. Thanks, Eileen. Thanks, everybody. Now, if I want, down here, I could do, if I'm reflecting something from the, here, I could always put, now I know the reflection would normally be right here, but in my world, the reflection is also the opposite. It's not just the reflection, it's the opposite there. Let me see if I can get an orange. Okay. And with my pokey tool, I'm going to do a few little, go right into the ring there, so it's like reflecting. And then again, I might pick out, get a dry brush here, pick out one or two of these too. Turn into shooting stars. Maybe one right here. A couple more, a little brighter. There it is. One over on this side. It's very light touch. Having to barely touch the card. Yeah, Eileen, I know. It was funny listening to the story last night. All right, so there we go. I think I'm going to call that one done. I mean, I almost want just a tiny bit of water reflected right across the foot right there. So you can kind of know where the water edge is. Something like that. Maybe just the tiniest bit of an eddy pool right around the edge right there. Okay, I'm going to stop on this. Thanks, Stacks. And I think what I'll do after the paint dries, I'll just add a little bit of black shading right under the beak, just the tiniest bit, so you can kind of define that beak line just a little more. But I'm going to wait before I go in there with any kind of pen thing or anything like that. But I think I like that. Okay, so we got these two done. See, it takes a while. I've been here over 2 hours, and all we've got done is gluing them down and 2 cards pretty much done. It just takes a while to do these tiny details, and that's why I wanted to have all the collage stuff picked out and at least laid out before I started streaming, so we could get to this process. Because it's hard to get to this process when you just start with a plain bunch of white cards, and then you have to watch me dig out collage elements, and you know, it just takes a while. All right, let's go with this one next, I think. I mean, I would like to get, let's see, what time is it? I probably have time for 1, maybe 2 more. And, you know, I've got, I mean, I've already glued down, you know, I got all these other ones here. I got this one. I really like that one. I really like that one, but I probably won't get to that one. If I get to any more after this one, it'll probably be this one. I'm liking these two right now. This, to me, has a whole little path. Look, there's a whole little path up to there. There's a whole nother little world back there. Can you kind of see? That's kind of cool, right? Same for this one. I put a staircase upside down right there. I think it was upside down. Maybe it was right side up. So these will probably be the next two. But these are the other ones that I have ready to glued. These. Well, I do stop and read chat and stuff. You wipe back. Well, you know what's probably is? It's little. You have to do time. I mean, something that helps wipe back is, I mean, if your finger's too big to even get in there and wipe back, put it on put your paint, you know, a paintbrush under the baby wipe and get just a tinier little bit. Here's the thing, it's just paint, Tina. It's just paint. 2 things. You can't put wet paint on wet paint for layering. If you want a new layer, it has to be wet paint on dry. If you want to blend 2 colors together, they need to both be wet. But if you want to layer another layer on top of something, the under layer has to be dry, or you'll be blending. Blending, layering. Okay? Wet, dry. Mitts, no, I probably won't continue on Monday. I'll probably continue them just like off and on throughout the day. Maybe, you know, while I'm watching another video or something. But, you know, I can't stay here all day. Okay, so you want to see how I'd make water. Okay, well, here's the one with the wave. Okay, the farther back waves are a little darker. The closer up ones are lighter. And it's such a, I mean, let me find something to do it on, Tina. Here, let me just do it on this one just to show you. Now, I'm not going to probably have water up here. Let me get a tiny brush. Let me show you again. Dry brush. I mean, it's damp. I've damped it off on a paper towel. It's no water. There's not water in the brush. It's damp, just, but it's not drippy water. Okay. All right. Just try it with just some white. Just look how little paint. Okay. Look how little paint is on there. Okay. If I want water coming up, let's just say I want water coming up here. There's so little paint on there. I can't even tell you. And I'm barely touching. Barely touching. Look. Maybe there's water coming up over on this side, right over. Now you'll have to play with it to get some layers to it, you know? But I'm just kind of giving you an idea. That's for some waves. Now if you want to blend waves into a straight path, like, you want just some water here, like that. I mean, look at all that I'm getting out of this one little brush load. I haven't even reloaded my brush. This is just what's in there. Okay. Okay, does that help? And it's the same thing for clouds. And you can add subtle colors in. It doesn't have to be just white. I'm just, I'm thinking that's really helping you to see. Let's say you have some clouds here. Let me get a little bit more paint. My paint's starting to crust over. Get a skin on it because they're drying. Okay, so let's just get rid of some of that blue there. And the clouds might just come right over the top of that castle. Just little. And I haven't even blended this background or anything. I would take, I'd get all this blended in here. Maybe there's some mountains back there. A couple little mountains way back there. You can just darken it up like the little, valley. Look, I mean, a little in front here. There'd be some shadow. Could be some shadow right here in front of these mountains. A little more. Bring that forward a little bit. Because we might have, it might be sunset. There might be some, this could be sunset here. I know. Well, I wouldn't normally have put water right there. I just wanted to show Tina how water. Same here. I'd probably have water down here, but now there's matte medium on it, so I should be able to wipe it away. There we go. Okay, you could not do that if there's no matte medium. All right. All right, but I haven't finished painting the background. Now I'm already working on this one, so let's just go for it. Okay, so here we go. Could be, way up there in the sky. All right. And you just keep, can add subtle colors as you go. Now I might want to keep this just like that because I like the transition right there. But I'm going to need, you know, to get rid of all this white over here. And my paint is kind of crusting over. Let's just get rid of the maybe maybe I don't want this to be rounded like that. Maybe these gears and things are coming up out of the ground. So we can get rid of all that if we want to. You know, maybe I don't want that bright area right there. Get rid of all that. So anyway, you can kind of see how that looks. And then we could always, I'll have to wait for this to dry a little bit, or I could hit it with the heat gun. But I'm thinking you can have some tiny little people right there. Clean my finger off here. Kind of see. So I have to wait till this kind of dries, but I would like to go in there with some tiny little details and shadow this like it's almost like rocks coming out of the hill, but instead of rocks, it's like an old architecture. I mean, an old archaeology. Some old archaeology that's all these gears coming out of the ground. Okay, or let's see what else we could do. We could take this could because I'm thinking this is really big. Okay, all right, but we could have there could and my paint's drying up. This right here. Let's see if I can do this. This could be the front of a cave, right in there. Just pull that out a little like that, and maybe right here. This could be a beach. This could be some beach right there. Some kind of washing up there, maybe. Okay, so this could be some little cliffs right here where the water might be kind of splashing up a little. That's too much, but kind of get that out there. But right in here, maybe there's a little cave. So we got a little cave there. Can you see that? Stand a little bit of, that's too much. I don't know. I have to work on that a little bit, but kind of. But you get tiny little people down here. Like, but I have to do that with a pen if I'm going to get them that tiny. Let's see. I don't have a Sharpie right here. Let's see. Here's a Faber-Castell. Let's see. Might be tiny little. I'll just kind of put them in black, and then you can go in there and add just a little bit of, highlight or something. But you want real little, like that. That's even almost too big. I don't know if I have a white pen handy. Well, I can't really do it right now because it's wet. But have some tiny little something going on down there. I mean, just, whatever you can just see in your little story. You think it was like a fish? It could be a mechanical fish. Or a submarine that looks like a fish that's beached, you know? So this could be more little cliffs back here. Way back there's little caves or something way back in there. Anyway, so you can kind of, there's that one. We'll just leave that one for now. All right, let me try to get one more done so we can at least have 4 or 5 here. Steampunk fish, yes. All right, so let's do something with this one. See, now this is a bird, but I'm ignoring that it's a bird. I mean, you can still see the bird, but I want it to be something totally different now. All right. And I really want purple. Let's see. Let me get a little bit of, this is dioxazine purple, however you say it, dioxazine. Just want a dab. I just want, what I want it in is just right in here, so I don't need much. All right. Well, anyway, so I hope you guys kind of had fun with this. It's too translucent. I need to add just a touch of blue or black here just to kind of make it not so, there we go. I want it purple, but I don't want it translucent. So it's kind of, well, I'm getting rid of the bird, Linda, sorry. I'm turning it into a landscape here now. It's going to take a couple coats. Because really now what I want it to be is almost like a path thing coming down. I'm going to pick up a little of the green just to kind of get some of that down here. So now I'm wanting olive green, that yellow ochre color, sienna up in there, and some purple. I don't want any of this blue. It's too blue. Get rid of all of that blue. But I want the cactus. I don't want to lose the cactus. Oh, and I did want to take a minute to be able to varnish 1 or 2. Yes. That was Jean. At a time, I think. Whoops. So anyway, guys, let me finish up, a little bit of this, and then I want to varnish, hit it with the heat gun and varnish one or two so you can see. But my idea here is to make this kind of come up there. Let's see if see my paint's crusting over now. But I want this to kind of come around like a little bit of a, I want it to come, a couple different ways like this. I'm going to have a couple like planes or whatever, layers. But because of the cactus, hang on, let me get a little bit more green down in here. Just kind of, messing with a little tiny bit of paint. Not hardly any paint at all, Tina. No, hardly no paint. Okay, but what I want to do, because this is cactus, and the sky's kind of reddy orange, I really want like kind of a I want a waterfall look. Okay, so let me get my brush really dry. Make sure I don't have too much, because I don't want, see that's a little wet there. I'm gonna have to hit that with the heat gun, because otherwise it'll just blend instead of layer. Okay, so let me hit this with the heat gun. Okay, now there's a little bit of area up here where the, what do you call it, tore. Yes, Jean? All right, so you can kind of see the background there. So what I really want to do is have some kind of a waterfall effect. I'm not even sure where it's going to go yet, but I got it dry now, so let's see what I can do here. I want kind of a, it's going to get it a little bit of yellow in it, just a tiny bit, or yellow ochre rather, just so it's not pure white. Okay, so where do I want the water to come to? I want this to look like a water wheel. See how the watch kind of looks like a water wheel? So I'm thinking that maybe we can kind of have the effect of water kind of coming off the edge of that, and then maybe somehow coming over. That's going to have to be brighter white though to show up right there. I'm probably doing this with too big of a brush. Okay. Now I want this to look like a water wheel coming down. And then splashing over a couple of different layers, maybe coming this way, maybe coming that way, and then coming over the top of the cactus. Something like this. I don't know if I want a little pool of water right there. Maybe a little pool of water there. But it's going to come out over. No, I don't want it to splash there. I want it to splash from there. And then come back over this way. Like little eddies and little flowy, watery areas, Okay, so what I'm going to do, I think I'm going to make this real dark in here. Let me clean my brush. So right in here, this is going to be really dark. Because this, right in here, as soon as I get the water done here, let me put a little bit of really dark right in there. Okay, now let me hit that with the heat gun because I can't go over that with white. could be coral, it could be underwater, Eileen. But what I'm going to do is I want the water to kind of drip real gently down here to the cactus. And then there are going to be some splashy areas coming down here. Got to do it so tiny because this is, if you want to, to look like there's lots of far away close up, you got to have big and small, light and dark, and you got to kind of just see. What I want this to do is look like this is a cliff, okay, and the water's coming over the cliff right there. Okay, here's a cliff right there. But inside the little cliff cave area here, wait a minute, let's get this done. This very touching anything, and I know I keep getting on camera. So what I'm trying to get just a couple of accenty ones, so you can kind of like that. But then inside there, inside that little cave, we have stars. Very subtle. Don't need, because you want it to look like it's really kind of far away. Like that. Like that. A couple more. Get one over here. I just ignored the bird. I just decided I didn't want the bird. Once I got going on it, I said, I want a little path to have the water because of the cactus. I wanted to water the cactus. And the cactus already looked like it had glow to it. Now, see, now I can come down here and add even more little water, like a little, more water pools of water down in here, like this. And again, I'm not, I really should take more time to do more little things, maybe it really needs one coming off right there, like that. Okay. I put a bird on it and ignored the bird. I know, right? I know, it's funny. But it shows you can't be afraid to cover things up. Don't be afraid to cover things up. This needs a little bit more dimension over in that area there. Okay, I don't think I'm going to have time. Let's see what time. Yeah, I'm not going to have time to do this last one. I might have time to just let's just put a little color on it here, but I'm not going to have time to complete another one. I don't think, because I want to show you, I want to varnish one. You know what I mean, Vern? I want this to be real rocky, like that. And then, of course, this. I'm just going to put a solid color of blue right now, but I would want to do some more, not texturing, but more, not just solid blue there. And then the planet right there will have to be more defined. I don't like that exact color blue. I'm going to cover it up. Maybe there's another little mountain bit over on this side. And some more far away mountains. Baby, well, I've got too much paint on my hand. Any questions or anything? Tina, how you doing? Tina, are you still here? How you doing? You're here. Okay, how's it going? Okay, now this looks like some kind. It has the stair thing here, but I'm wanting this. I want to get rid of this right here. I'm gonna get rid of that. I want the little railing looking thing there, but I want black down in here. Doing fine. You said cover it up, so you did with the trash. Oh, Tina. Tina. You gave up. Rats, you gave up. So let's keep working on this. But anyway, so there we go, guys. I'm going to stop. I'll show you the ones we got done here. I'll add a couple little stars, a couple little things to these, and I'll take a picture of these 5. I'll finish these 5. Let me just show you real quick. Thanks, guys, for being here. Yes, that's true. I have done this for a very long time. That's a good point, Janet. You can't give up, though. You know, you ought to at least keep them for when you do practice and get better at it. And then you go, oh, look how far I've come. But whatever. Just saying. All right, here's the one we kind of did on the fly because I didn't really even, I just wanted to kind of do a little. This one's got, got to do some more layers. I got to do more up in the sky and stuff, but just so you can kind of see. Okay, I kind of really like this one. I really like that one. You're still painting, but you're not happy. Well, another thing you might try to do, Tina, is a 4x6. Try a postcard size first. The tininess of it might be hard to get into the little areas. Try a 4x6 instead of a 3x4. Oh, I wanted to varnish one. How much time do I have? I might have just enough time to varnish one, guys. All right, let me just let me, where's my heat gun? Let me hit this with the heat gun. You want to make sure they're perfectly dry. And the other thing too, if you're going to varnish, you can't have, you got to be, let me see if I can get it, show you here. Like if I did some white color pencil, which you can do, no, something. You can do a lot of cool things with your color pencil, just like I do when I do animals and shading and all kinds of things with the color pencil. But a lot of times, if you use color pencil and you varnish it, you're going to, I'm going to see what happens right here with this one. You can smear the pencil. Okay, so I'm going to put a couple of extra lines here where the stars might be shooting off right there, shooting stars. But I added this instead of like adding more smoke with my baby wipe and blending it in. I did this with pencil to show you that it can smear. Okay, so if you go in there with color pencil in this situation and add your varnish over it, it can smear. Yeah, yeah, don't do that then, Tina. All right, so all you need is about the size of on a card like this, maybe about the size of a nickel, okay, like that. That's probably even too much. But what I do is I just kind of, oh, I got something on there. Hang on, guys. I just kind of smooth it around and just kind of blend it out, all right? Now, where I'm touching the color pencil, it is smearing, just so you know. But I wasn't going to add color pencil, but I just wanted to add that for a little demo, okay? But all you do is just put a thin coat, and it doesn't have to be gloss. It can be matte, okay? And if you're using something like a poster size, then use a sponge, the sponge brush. You know what I'm talking about, the little cheap sponge brushes on a stick, so that you don't have brush marks. Now, if you're doing a small card like this or a 4x6 or something like that, you can just smear it out with your fingers. But and then wipe it off quickly because you don't want it to dry on, or unless you got a craft scrubby. Okay, but that is all there is to it. And you can see it's all cohesive now because of the varnish, which I use gloss varnish. Okay, and let it set overnight. You can do the same thing with your art journals with this. Let it set. Make sure it's perfectly dry before you close your art journal. Collage one and then look at it and how you can turn it into a waterfall. Okay. I missed something, Sharifa, from back. But look how nice and vibrant it makes the colors when you varnish it. See? It makes the colors just more, see? Can you tell? I don't know if you can tell. Maybe on the blue. Like that. And again, what I'll do is, let me do on a different one because this one's obviously wet and I can't turn it over. But then I'll just paint, I do it this way. You don't have to do black, you can do any color you want. I think that's blue, no, that's black. And I just paint the backs. Let me show you here. I do, because I think if we end up stopping, if the recording stops, guys, thanks for being here and watching. I will upload this to YouTube and the Happy Mail one too, because I want to show off all y'all's artwork. I've had one or two videos that did not upload, and I even tried to redo it a couple times and they wouldn't do, so I don't know what happened with that. But anyway, all right, so, and I like a nice, you know, I like it really black. Sometimes it takes a couple coats, but most of the time it's just one. Let me hit that with a heat gun. And then what I do is, oops, sorry guys, I bumped the camera. Let me, either gold or silver. I just happened to grab a gold. These gel pens here. And this one's not varnished yet. You could see a difference. And then I'll just, sometimes I'll put my email, depending on who I'm sending it to and whatnot, if it's a trade or whatever. I might put a title or whatever. And then, but the black, the gold looks good on, or the silver, gold or silver, um, on the black paint. So, entitle it. You can put your email address, whatever. But just depending on if you're doing a trade or what. So I'll finish these up sometime today, and I gotta go eat, and I gotta eat something. Finish these 5 up and take a picture, and I'll put them on Twitter for you. So, and because I want to make sure that I'm all settled in for Zandra's stream tonight with Journal Artista and the gals in Baltimore. And Linda, we expect to see some streamage from Mars soon. Recorded, Linda. You're welcome, guys. And thanks for being here. And I'm glad that had a couple cards to give out. Now I've already got plans for, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4 of these already. So, but I'll try to finish up. I did make 15, starters to finish up. But you kind of, hopefully, Tina, you had fun trying. And don't give up, Tina. You hear me? Okay, guys. Thanks for being here. And Rach, I hope we'll see you next week streaming too. Please. All right, guys. Bye.